Damn, I missed you all. Can't wait to get back on the air. February 2nd, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The return of the Dan Bongino Show. Lovers, haters, friends, supporters, detractors, you're all welcome. Make that chat room fire. I want to hear it all. Rumble.com/Bongino, February 2nd, 10 a.m. Live. See you there.
Hello and welcome. Happy Friday evening to everyone. And this is the last episode of Nightly Scroll ever. It is the end of an era. The show is not going anywhere, but it won't be called Nightly Scroll anymore. This is the last Nightly Scroll because you can't nightly scroll at noon. And that is where my show is moving starting Monday. So Monday, you are going to watch the Dan Bongino Show at 10 a.m. to noon, and then I will be right after at noon. So I hope that you all stick around. I know that you'll be watching Dan. I will be too. Very excited for that. And it's going to be the same old show that you know and love, just going to be called Scrolling with Hayley. So wherever you find Nightly Scroll, you'll be able to find Scrolling with Hayley come Monday. Rumble.com/Hayley is where you can watch Scrolling with Hayley. And of course, if you're watching right now, Nightly Scroll. But starting Monday, that is where you can watch. It'll be noon Eastern Time, live Monday to Friday. And then, of course, same as always, if you want to watch later, if you loved the 6 p.m. time slot, watch it at 6 p.m. if you want. You won't be able to scroll with everyone live in the chat, but that is A-okay. Whenever you want to watch on Rumble, you can do that or listen on your favorite podcast platform, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Listen however, whenever you want, and tell a friend because we are building something very big here starting Monday, February 2nd. Cannot wait. And of course, we've got one last Nightly Scroll, so let's get into it. Don Lemon was arrested at his hotel late, or I guess early this morning, and I didn't think that was going to happen. Then a Minnesota man, tried to break the United Healthcare CEO killer, or alleged killer, out of jail. We're going to get into that. And the NBA is still woke. I'm sure everyone already knew that. But the woke mob doesn't think that the NBA is woke enough. And also Sydney Sweeney is speaking out on being labeled MAGA Barbie. All that and so much more on the very last episode of Nightly Scroll. Let's get into it. Arrested. Don Lemon, you are not above the law. This is the left loves to say it. Nobody is above the law, not even Don Lemon. And this arrest was a work in progress. Feds attempted to arrest him days ago. They went to a magistrate judge that declined to approve Lemon's arrest. They said that there was a lack of evidence. Then they went to another judge higher up than that magistrate judge. He also didn't sign off. Then they went to an appeals court that also didn't sign off. So it seems as though the DOJ was able to get the arrest warrant through a grand jury indictment. At least that's what agents told Georgia Fort when they were arresting her. She's one of the 4 people arrested along with Don Lemon. And, NBC News, I thought it was so funny. I was reading an article and they said that Lemon and 3 other journalists were arrested. So I tried to dig into this because I'm like, are these people even journalists? Like, what does that even mean? So the people that were arrested, and I don't usually say the names of criminals on this show. You know how I feel about that. But in this case, just to keep them all straight, this one guy, Traherne Gene Cruz, was arrested. Also Georgia Fort. And then another guy, Jamel Lydell Lundy. Okay. So they were all arrested because they were part of this storming of the city's church in St. Paul. Now, Traherne Gene Cruz, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is not a journalist. He is a professional agitator and co-founder of Black Lives Matter Minnesota. Georgia Fort is an independent journalist. Apparently, she's won multiple Emmys in that area. But both, this is what I found interesting. Traherne Cruz and Georgia Fort are both fellows with the Bush Foundation. Cruz was a Bush Foundation fellow in 2024. Fort was a Bush Foundation fellow in 2025. Now, this is not a Bush Foundation that is affiliated with the President Bushes. No, different family. This is actually the Bush Foundation that have ties to the 3M company. But I couldn't find much information on the Jamel Lundy guy, but he is a state Senate candidate for Senate District 65. So I guess you could call Don Lemon a journalist, and this woman, Georgia Fort, a journalist, but these other two, not so much. So I don't know why NBC was calling them all, journalists, but whatever. Traherne Cruz, one of the other guys who, again, is getting money from the Bush Foundation, and I'll get into that in a second. He also has a history of running for office. So this Lydell Lundy guy, Jamel Lundy, he's running for state Senate. And this guy Cruz, back in 2015, he ran for Ward 1 of the St. Paul City Council, and he lost. Then he ran for office again in 2017. This time, he ran for mayor of St. Paul. He lost. Then he ran for office again for a seat in the Minnesota House of Representatives. He was running for District 66B. He also lost. So I guess he's gotten into the political activism realm. This is when he got involved with BLM Minnesota. So I did uncover something interesting about that Bush Foundation and what those fellowships do. So again, no connection to the presidents, but the foundation provides its fellows $150,000, get this, to develop leadership skills. Now that's a lot of money to develop leadership skills. I feel like they could do that for free, but certainly if they're going to spend money on it, doesn't have to be six figures, right? $150,000 to develop leadership skills, that's crazy. And also, define leadership development. What does that even mean? It's activism. It is paid activism. It is no surprise that these people are connected to BLM. They're receiving six-figure grants to lead their communities, to storm churches and stage other protests. So this is how we got here. Now, Don Lemon famously said after this whole incident went viral and people were coming for him, he said, well, I didn't plan the protest. I didn't plan it. Talk to the people who planned it. Okay, so he didn't plan it, but let's get into what Don Lemon did do. So Don Lemon followed these agitators into a church to cover it. Now, if that's all he did, he'd probably be fine. You can cover a protest without being an active participant in it. And Don Lemon disrupted the church service by ambushing the pastor for an interview in the middle of the church service. Let me be clear. If Don Lemon wanted to interview this pastor, he could have set up an interview with him or waited until the service was over. But because the protesters and the agitators disrupted the service so much, Don Lemon, I guess, figured, well, the show's over. Mine begins. I'm going to step in and interview this guy. And here is what Don's attorney said. This is guy Abe Lowell. And he said this: Don has been a journalist for 30 years, and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he's always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. That is not what Don Lemon was doing. The protesters stormed into the wrong church service, and Don Lemon interviewed the wrong pastor. It wasn't even the pastor that had ties to ICE at all. So they're interviewing the wrong people, interrupting the wrong people. And Don Lemon's attorney said this is an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and that Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out because it's basically the First Amendment versus the First Amendment, right? On one hand, the right to free speech, to protest, the right to a free press, also the freedom of religion and the right to worship without being interrupted and intimidated. And I just want to remind everyone, because the left is all up in arms saying this is, an attack on free speech. It's an attack on journalism. It's an attack on the First Amendment. The Biden DOJ arrested protesters too. They arrested pro-life protesters for much less, by the way. And the attorney general at the time, under Biden, Merrick Garland, deemed parents at school board meetings domestic terrorists. So if you know a liberal that is upset about all of this, just explain to them that their boy set the standard, okay? And let me just say, after Don Lemon has now been arrested in LA from what he did in Minnesota, I will assume that now all of the businesses in both Minnesota and LA, in California, where he was arrested, are going to need to be boarded up big time, I fear. Because these protesters will just not back down. They don't need a reason to protest, but now with the Renee Good and Alex Preddy and now Don Lemon being arrested, they've got things to get riled up about, right? And now dozens of protesters were actually arrested in New York earlier this week as well. These protesters entered the Hilton Garden Inn on 6th Avenue. This is in downtown Manhattan, Lower Manhattan. And the organization that staged it was called Planet Over Profit, just like a Marxist group. And they said on X, we're not going to stand for a company, Hilton, they claim, aids a fascist military killing and abducting our neighbors. That's what Planet Over Profit and these protesters believe. So they were arrested. And my thought is, how do these protesters even know that ICE agents are actually in these hotels? They don't. They are just raising hell at Hiltons all over. If they think that Vice President Vance is staying in a hotel, they're going to bang their pots and pans in front of that one. And they think that all Hiltons are bad, so they're going to go to Hiltons all over the country. Minnesota, they're going to stage a protest. New York City has nothing to do with anything. They're going to stage a protest because they've made up their minds. Doesn't matter what the facts are. Doesn't matter if ICE agents are staying there or not. They just hate Hilton now. And they're protesting and they're boycotting. The good news in this whole story, though, is that the NYPD came in and arrested around 65 protesters. Most of them were issued summonses for trespassing, disorderly conduct, some receiving desk appearance tickets and resisting arrest. Now, I will say that there was I don't want to say a famous, but I would say maybe a notable protester there was Dante de Blasio. Does that last name ring a bell for anyone? He is the son of former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. He was arrested. The son was arrested, not Bill. And this is nothing new for the de Blasio family. Bill de Blasio's daughter also arrested for unlawful assembly back in 2020 as well. You see the children of prominent Democrats and you have to wonder what the hell went wrong. You got Ella Emhoff. She's Doug Emhoff's daughter and Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, I'm assuming. She doesn't shave her armpits. And you've got Hope Walls, who's out there basically spreading misinformation online all the time. And Hunter Biden, of course, who snorts Parmesan cheese out of the carpet. And he leaves his gun here. He leaves his laptop there. Whatever. They're all very troubled and clearly being led astray by their families. Also, Kathy Griffin leading her followers astray. Listen to this divisive language.
Those of you that are awake, that see what's going on, what do you think the solution is? I think the murder of Renee Good, the murder of Alex Preddy, putting children on planes and taking them to detention centers, which are really concentration camps. Call it what it is. They're concentration camps in the United States of America in 2026. So take that in. And I know you don't want to participate in something radical. I don't either. I wish I could just go on the road and do my funny stories about celebrities or making fun of politicians, but not even have to acknowledge this. But it is happening all around you. It's happening around you. I live in Los Angeles. It's happening at targeted places in Los Angeles. And I think it's time to talk to the neighbors in real life. It's time to talk to your neighbors, find out if they're MAGA or not. Sorry, but we have to know who's on our team and start to plan. Is there a way we can do something as a community? When I hear from my followers in Minnesota, they describe a very sophisticated channel of a system of things that they do to help one another. And they use encrypted apps. And like I said, everyone has whistles and honks their horn, but they organize in small groups. And they've told me that they learned this from the George Floyd incident, because George Floyd was murdered 20 blocks away from these other murders, roughly. And so they said they learned a lot from that experience. So I'm just telling you guys, live your life, but be conscious of this. And if you're silent, you're complicit. Sorry, I know I'm being a judgy bitch, but that's how I feel. Here I am being preachy.
Yeah, here she is being preachy. Also, did anyone notice that she has a mannequin with her hair on it in the back? Like some wig. I guess she wears wigs. Weird. Weird, almost a little self-obsessed, maybe. But, you know, anytime someone makes this connection between what's happening today to the Holocaust is not only completely false and misleading, it's totally insulting. And, you know, then she goes on to say, you know, find out if your neighbors are MAGA to see if they're on the same team as us. And then what? And then what? And do what? Once you find out if your neighbors are on your team or not, what are you going to do? Then she wants people to continue mobilizing on these signal chats and other end-to-end encrypted messaging services. For what? To do what? She's like, yeah, I hear in Minneapolis, they're using these things and they're getting together and they're getting their community together. To do what? The scary thing is these people speak out and they say these vague statements, and then they let these mentally ill, violent lunatics who follow them fill in the blanks. So Kathy Griffin can just, you know, sit back and say, well, I didn't tell them to do that. I didn't tell them to mobilize. I didn't tell them to be violent. I didn't tell them to do this. I just told them to figure out who in their neighborhood is MAGA and get together and make sure that you know what team you're on, and maybe the community can get together and do what? I don't want to find out what they have up their sleeves. Taking a quick break to tell you about our sponsor for tonight's show, Fatty 15. You know, I'm in the gym. I'm doing my 75 hard 2 workout today. I can't have stiff joints. I can't have poor sleep. And you, like me, probably want to find something that will help you feel younger and slow down aging. And I'm excited to share with you guys C15 from Fatty 15. It is the first essential fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. Fatty 15 co-founder Dr. Stephanie Van Watson discovered the benefits of C15 while working with the U.S. Navy. And based on studies, we know that when our cells don't have enough C15, they can age faster. Fatty 15 can help repair and protect age-related damage to cells and help activate pathways in the body that help support our overall wellness. Fatty 15 is a science-backed, award-winning, 100% pure C15 supplement that comes in a gorgeous reusable jar. I'm having much more energy since Fatty 15 sent me some to try, and it's helping me get through my long days. Also will helping me be getting through this new schedule change as well. So thank you to Fatty 15. They are on a mission to help optimize your C15 levels and help support your long-term health and wellness, especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/scroll and using code SCROLL at checkout. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. All right, well, athletes are weighing in on everything happening in Minnesota now. And one of them is a New York Knicks forward, Gershon Yabusele. Maybe I'm butchering that. He's a French native, and he broke his silence about all of the unfolding events in Minnesota. And he said this: I can't stop thinking about the tragic events unfolding in Minnesota. And even though I'm French, I can't remain silent. Great. He continues, what's happening is beyond comprehension. We're talking about murders here. These are serious matters. The situation must change. The government must stop operating in this way. I stand with Minnesota. I love when foreigners who are here, they are awarded the opportunity to play a sport for a living. That is a privilege. They come to the United States and then they come here and they bash it. And, you know, yes, we have a First Amendment here that allows you to bash the government, but it's like, you people don't know what you're talking about, and you're so lucky to be here. You wouldn't have this career if not for the United States of America. Show a little grace, okay? Be grateful. But the Minnesota Timberwolves also put out a statement. And, they've been wearing these T-shirts that say "Stand with Minnesota." And, of course, they had to put out a statement because this is what they do. So it said this: "We, the Minnesota Timberwolves players, extend our deepest or sincere sympathies and love to everyone across the Twin Cities and throughout Minnesota who has been affected by the recent tragic events impacting our communities. Minnesota is strongest when we uplift and support one another, and there is no room for hatred or division across our great state or among all who live here. We mourn the lives lost and send strength, peace, and compassion to all who are hurting. We believe in the resilience, unity, and care that define Minnesotans and bring our communities together in times of hardship and need." Well, I thought, okay, well, they made this statement because, they felt like they had to, right? And then I went through the comment section on this video. And if you guys could pull this up, that would be great, just so you all can see what I was seeing. And I'm going through this, and people are saying vague. They're also saying that's a lot of words that don't say ice out. Someone else said, "That's great, now win a championship." Someone else said, "Say their names, Alex Preddy, Renee Good." Took a week to come up with this. I invite you to be more specific, please. Spoken like a bunch of millionaires worried about their wallets. Could have just said ice out of Minnesota. People are upset with this statement. They are wanting more. They're wanting more from the Timberwolves. I wish these sports teams would just, for once, say the thing, abolish ice. Whew. Avoiding saying ice out. Just do it. Speak up. And what difference would it make if they said ice out or this? It's just crazy. Some of these other comments. Can we get an F ice, please? They are just obsessed. Someone else said that was such a PR response after the WNBA players went out of their way to speak out on their personal platforms and are even donating money to people affected here. The fact that this was the response after countless protests and multiple deaths is ridiculous. I wish these sports teams would just say it. That's a word salad when you could have just said ice out. This is so soft. Why are y'all talking about unity and not about justice? Why put out a statement at all? And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you are damned if you do, you are damned if you don't. And you're certainly damned if you do it, but you don't use the right language, you don't do it the right way. These people are never happy. And truly, I think if the Timberwolves came out and said, in lieu of the national anthem tonight, we're going to publicly execute ICE agents to make you all happy, people would say, well, it's not enough. These people are truly never happy. What would make them happy? They put out a statement saying they didn't say ice out. Okay, but they said that it was horrible. These people are just, they're crazy. They are absolutely crazy. And I grew up reading this book, this children's book called If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. And I use this analogy to describe the woke mob and the cancel culture mob a lot because it's exactly the same. In the book, if you give a mouse a cookie, the mouse wants a cookie, right? So he gets a cookie. Then he gets the cookie, and then he wants a glass of milk, and then he wants a straw, and then he wants a napkin, and then he wants to take a nap, and then he wants to vacuum up the crumbs. It's just never enough. And these woke mob liberals are exactly like the mouse in that book. You can put out a statement, not good enough. You have to say this. You didn't use the right words. It's exhausting. You can't make these people happy at all. And I wanted to talk about this too, because, one of those comments in that post said, well, the WNBA players, they put out statements on their personal pages. And again, these front offices, what are they supposed to do? Tell the players, hey, you have to post this on your personal page? They can't tell someone that. They don't have to. They can't force them to speak out and say things that they don't want to say. So I thought that this study was very fascinating by VoteHub, and they looked into the political affiliations of sports stars. So we could pull this up. And of course, the WNBA, mostly women, almost 70% Democrat versus 30.2% independent, much less Republican, right? Then you go to the NBA. 42.9% of the NBA players, they are Democrats. Then 45.9% identify as independent. Only 10% Republican. Then you go to the NFL, NHL, and MLB, and we're getting more Republican as we go. The NFL, only 34.3% identify as Democrat. More identify as independent and Republican. Certainly the NHL, less Democrats, only less than 6%. The majority identify as independent. It was like 48% independent, only 43.9% Republican, and the MLB is the most conservative, coming in at only 7.8% Democrat, but 53.7% Republican. And I thought that this was interesting because there's a lot of independents in this poll. There's a lot of independents, a lot of these athletes. Maybe they were nervous to say how they really identified. I think a lot of men specifically might say that they're independent, meaning they're conservative. They just didn't want to say it. I don't think that anyone's really independent now. I mean, maybe in 2016, sure. In 2026, I don't think that many people are independent. And I don't know very many independents that lean to the left. Most of the independents that I know or that I've heard of lean to the right. And people stopped saying the I'm socially liberal, I'm fiscally conservative type thing. People used to say that. And I feel like now people get hate for saying that because it's kind of like wishy-washy and basically it means that you're conservative for the most part. Again, like this independent but leaning to the right kind of a thing. Like leftists nowadays, they don't want you to be, like being socially liberal is not enough for liberals these days. They don't want to hear that you're conservative anything, let alone fiscally conservative. They're like, I don't want that. We don't associate with you. So the leftists are so, headstrong about their progressivism that they don't want any kind of fiscally conservative, none of that mumbo jumbo, no, like we don't want you with us, which I think is interesting. I would argue that most of the independents on that list, on that poll, are actually conservative. They're closet conservatives. Maybe they're nervous that if they respond to this poll, maybe it's not anonymous. Maybe it'll get out. Maybe someone knows that, I lean conservative or this. Maybe people are nervous that it's not anonymous. Maybe they're nervous that their fans are going to get wind of this and cancel them, or brands will cancel them, brand deals, sponsorships, all that. I can understand why someone would say, well, I'll be a little honest. I'll fudge the truth a little bit. I won't tell them that I'm conservative, but I'll tell them that they're independent. I mean, do you guys do you hear anyone these days saying that they're independent? I don't hear that anymore. Nobody's independent. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. Here's some good news though for the Super Bowl. I know that most of us are going to be tuning into the Turning Point halftime show. Whatever that may be, certainly going to be better than Bad Bunny. But Bad Bunny will be the Super Bowl halftime show, and Green Day is going to be the opening ceremony performer. And we can always count on Budweiser to have a pro-Americana ad, and this year is no different. Watch this. There's a Clydesdale, free bird, and the Clydesdale has an American eagle, a bald eagle on its back. Almost looks like Pegasus when they're together. And the Clydesdale runs off, the eagle flies away. It's America for 150 years. Just pro-Americana, 150 years of Budweiser. And they talked to the CEO who said, listen, we had to do it big. We had to do something patriotic because it was 150 years of Budweiser and also 250 years of the United States of America. So it's something to celebrate, right? We're going to celebrate the patriotism. This is Americana, baby. And I always look forward to the Budweiser Super Bowl commercials, especially because they are so Americana. It's beer. It's the Clydesdales, the Clydesdales and Golden Retrievers, the Clydesdales, and now they're adding in a bald eagle. And the company has partnered with Folds of Honor for over 15 years. I do believe that deep down, They love the country and the people in it who made Budweiser successful. However, we do know that not all of the advertisements have been a hit because of the Bud Light debacle with Dylan Mulvaney. That was a massive mistake and a costly one, but I truly don't believe that it's representative of the company as a whole. With that said, will I ever drink Bud Light ever again? No. I will not be caught dead with Bud Light. The only time I've ever had Bud Light is because I was at a concert and it was like the only drink available, or someone bought me one in college. After the Dylan Mulvaney thing, I said, no, I won't even be caught dead drinking a Bud Light because Bud Light actually stinks. Like, I'm not going to purchase a Bud Light unless I really, really have to, unless it's given to me, like I said. After the Dylan Mulvaney thing, I'm going to stick with my dirty martini. No Bud Lights, no woke beers for me. But I wanted to get into this Sydney Sweeney debacle as well, because, on the left, she has just become this lightning rod in a bad way, where they're calling her MAGA Barbie. Sydney Sweeney, MAGA Barbie. And this is all coming because of the American Eagle ad that, of course, got a lot of negative attention from the left. They said that the American Eagle ad that she teamed up with them for was eugenics. It was promoting eugenics. It was promoting white supremacy because they said that she has good genes. She does. She does have good genes. That doesn't mean that other people don't have good genes, but Sydney Sweeney, yes, she's absolutely gorgeous. She's got a hot body. She's blonde, blue eyes. Like, really? She's like every guy's dream girl. Like, yeah, she's hot. So, yeah, she has good genes. It makes sense to me. But, everyone was saying, oh, well, this is white supremacist. And then she didn't go out and condemn this ad because why would she? She's gorgeous. And it made the company a lot. The stock rose, I think, 74% or something like that. Crazy. It worked. So now Sydney Sweeney is coming out with her own lingerie brand. And this is what prompted the Cosmopolitan cover. And with the Cosmopolitan cover, they did want to promote the fact that she is making this lingerie brand. But they also wanted to get her on the record talking about politics and all of the hubbub around the ad and all of the criticism that she's gotten. And they asked her, there is a charged nickname that is stuck to you on social media, MAGA Barbie. The interviewer said, I see it in Instagram comments constantly. How do you understand this label given that you've been private about your politics? And she said this, I've never been here to talk about politics. I've always been here to make art. So this is just not a conversation I want to be at the forefront of. And I think that because of that, people want to take it even further and use me as their own pawn. But it's somebody else assigning something to me, and I can't control that. And then the interviewer pushed back on her even more and said, why not correct it if it's not true? Where is the line for you? And Sydney Sweeney said, I haven't figured it out. I'm not a hateful person. If I say that's not true, they'll come at me like you're just saying that to look better. There's no winning. There's never any winning. I just have to continue being who I am because I know who I am. I can't make everyone love me. I know what I stand for. Now, Sydney Sweeney could teach a masterclass in the art of not giving a damn. People call her MAGA. She doesn't care. Probably because she is, but that's another story, right? She's been caught, with those red MAGA hats at, I think it was her mom's 60th birthday party. It said, make 60 great again. There were people in her family wearing thin blue line shirts, and people came at her back then. This was a long time ago. And people said, oh my gosh, you're MAGA. And she didn't apologize for that either. People hate her. She doesn't care. People want to force her to speak on issues she doesn't want to speak on. She doesn't care. And I love her for this because the cancel culture mob is never happy. Sydney Sweeney is 100% right. If she came out and said, no, I'm not MAGA. I hate Trump. Guess what? The mob has already made up their mind about her, and nothing she says even matters at this point. You can't argue with these people. You can't change the hearts and minds of people who are already closed-minded and have their minds made up. You can't make perpetually miserable people happy, and Sydney Sweeney knows that. And you know what? She's happy. She's successful and hot. They should take a page out of her book. She is staying out of politics, and she's much happier and more successful for it. So good for her. I also wanted to talk about Luigi Mangione. He is the United Healthcare CEO, alleged murderer, right? And he is being held in, I think it's Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. And a Minnesota man, as a matter of fact, tried busting him out of jail with a barbecue fork and a pizza cutter while posing as an FBI agent. So this guy shows up to the jail claiming he's part of the FBI. He says he has a court order. He's authorizing an inmate's release. He says, like, I have some paperwork here and it's signed by a judge. Yeah, okay. Okay, so then the Bureau of Prisons officers asked this guy for his credentials, and he threw down this stack of papers that are fake along with his Minnesota ID. Yeah, that's not the credentials they were looking for. The Bureau of Prisons officers were probably asking him to prove to us that you are part of the FBI. Then they searched him, right? And they searched his backpack. They found that he was armed and dangerous with a pizza cutter and a barbecue fork. This is the evidence, the photos of the evidence here. You can see his weapons of choice that he decided to bring to the jail. I mean, what was he planning on doing with a pizza cutter and a barbecue fork? Do you guys have this? If we can show this, we're going to pull it up. I mean, I don't know what he was planning to do. How would he have broken this guy out of jail using these things? I'm not sure. But this guy has now been charged with impersonating a federal officer. This is a felony that can carry a potential sentence of up to 3 years in prison. Let's scroll down here so you guys can see what he got here. Barbecue fork, it's like a tiny pitchfork. And what looks to be a pizza cutter. Just crazy. I'm a little, where he had these things in his backpack. Was he going to try to kill someone with this? Was he trying to, I don't know. I don't think you could do, I mean, surely you could do some damage with a pizza cutter or anything like this, these utensils, but I don't know if he could break someone out of jail using them. Certainly, but like I said, he has been charged with impersonating a federal officer, and I'm really not sure who would ever do something like that. I just can't think of a reason to dress up as an FBI agent. That is horrible. That is, I don't know who would ever do something like that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Would I ever do something like that? I mean, I think I probably did it for Halloween, but I didn't try to break anyone out of jail. I don't know. I don't think I was doing anything wrong. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Am I going to go to jail? Am I going to go to jail for this? No, I'm just kidding. Maybe next year I can wear this same outfit and recycle it for Halloween and just bring a pizza cutter with me and a barbecue fork, and then I can be this Minnesota man. I'll recycle the costume. So it'll be great. We can bring it back. But an update on this whole case, this fellow, did not end up breaking this guy out of jail, the United Healthcare CEO out of jail, killer out of jail. But the judge dismissed a murder charge that would have made him eligible for the death penalty. So he will not be facing the death penalty because it would require the killing committed during another crime of violence. Like, that is what constitutes a death penalty. So prosecutors were saying that, the other crimes of violence were stalking charges, and they were arguing that he went across state lines to kill this guy. But the judge said no, said that, the stalking charges didn't amount to crimes of violence. I guess in his opinion, stalking, although he was stalking this guy to kill him and traveling across state lines to kill someone, but, I'm not the judge, this guy is, and he said no. So he will not be facing the death penalty, but it's crazy. I mean, he dismissed that murder charge. I can't wrap my head around it. He does also face a second-degree murder count and other charges in a separate case where the death penalty is unconstitutional. So anyway, if he is convicted, he will not face the death penalty, but he could face 25 years to life. Let's get into scrolling time. Jerry's, the ice cream company, headed up by two libtards, and they ended up breaking up. Like Ben and Jerry's, not breaking up. They weren't like together romantically, but I believe Jerry left because the company wasn't woke enough. But Ben Cohen is certainly woke. I can't imagine why he wasn't woke enough, but I digress. Here is Ben Cohen weighing in on everything happening in Minnesota. Watch.
I was prepared to make a special ice cream today to memorialize and celebrate the life of Renee Good. But now that Alex's murder makes it clear that the murder of Renee and the government's lies were not a mistake, but standard operating procedure, I just don't have it within me. We all live in Minneapolis now, because Minneapolis is only the beginning of what they have in mind. They're coming for anyone, anywhere, who doesn't submit. A brazen, arrogant, masked, militarized force, loyal only to Trump and immune from prosecution. Submit or be murdered, video them and be murdered, protest and be murdered, or at least be placed on a list of domestic terrorists and investigated. This is not freedom. This is not the right to free speech or the right to protest. This is not America. This is sheer cruelty. This is the beginning of the end of the land of the free, unless we make it the home of the brave. Unless we're brave enough to stand up for justice, to stand up for our neighbors, to stand up for compassion. ICE must be defunded and disbanded. Before 2001, ICE did not even exist. Immigration issues used to be handled by the INS, the Immigration and Naturalization Service, which was part of the Department of Justice, and it was just. Let's go back to that. You know, I don't get it. They say this is a Christian nation. What did he mean when he said, I was a stranger and you welcomed me? Love thy neighbor. What you do to the least of these, you do to me. As Cornel West said, justice
I can't
is what love looks like.
I truly cannot stand when people use the Bible to justify political issues. It's just like gross. But I do find it funny that he said, you know, after Renee Good was murdered, I was going to make ice cream, but now I'm not. Alex Preddy got murdered, and now like the ice cream, it's not happening anymore. It's crazy.
It's blasphemy instead. No more ice cream. Just some blaspheming.
I love. He was like, yeah, Renee Good, I'll make an ice cream. I'll make an ice cream for her. Alex, well, now it's sad. So now I can't make ice cream. Which is, you know, difficult, I feel like, for Republicans to comprehend, because no matter what's going on in the world, we all go to work, right? So I feel like despite Alex Preddy also dying, he could probably still find it in him to make ice cream if that's what his job is. And I'm wondering what these flavors would have looked like. You know, what would it have tasted like? What would it have been called? Would people go and buy it if he made an ice cream for Renee Good? Maybe. What would the money go to? More protests, probably. It's crazy. And what is Ben from Ben & Jerry's going to do actually? Like, he calls for ICE to be abolished. Okay. And does he have any say over that? No. Is he affecting any real change other than expanding the waistlines of liberals? No, he's not. He's not. All right, this next video, I saw this maybe... I was going to play this on the show yesterday and I didn't get to, or 2 days ago, I forget. But this guy, he showed up to a city council meeting in California dressed as Batman. Watch.
What the fuck are we doing here? Seriously, you have had months to prepare for this upcoming event. I don't give a damn if this is outside of decorum. People are dying on our streets every single day in this country because we allow this federal government to walk all over you. Look me in the eye. Can any one of you go home to your children and tell them that you did everything you could to protect their classmates, to protect them? I don't think you can, with the exception of Park. Thank you. I am disgusted by
Look
each
me
and
in the
every
eye.
one of you.
They
with the
can't. Look me in the eye. They can't see your eyes. You're wearing a mask over them. And the costume is, I'm thinking about this hanging in the man's closet, or maybe it's balled up under his bed. It's so funny to think about. He's like, there's a city council meeting, and I've got to tell them that I'm not okay with what ICE is doing. Let me put on my Batman costume. It's also, if you could tell in that video, the bat signal on it is filthy. Like, it is filthy dirty. He has had this costume for a long time. I don't know what he's doing in the costume or where he's keeping it, but whatever it is, it's not clean. It was not dry cleaned.
He needed to do the voice.
His voice was not deep enough.
I can't believe he didn't do the voice.
He had to. I don't think he has it in him.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
He's like a little twerp, like a little like Twinkie twerp. And he goes up there to the, I'm Batman. I'm Batman and I don't like ice. It just doesn't hit the same. Just doesn't hit the same. And if I had to guess, Batman, crime fighter, I feel like he would be on the side of ICE, not the protesters. Just my thought. This next video is a man on the street. He's asking these women, would you rather date a hot, hunky ICE supporter, or would you rather date the safe, liberal with blue hair? Watch.
Between these two choices, who would you rather go on a date with? This one, the first one, with the black ICE t-shirt, or the second one with the blue hair?
I'd probably say the first one.
Okay, why is that?
Because they look hotter.
Would you be concerned at all with the second or the first guy's t-shirt with the ICE thing?
Well, he could be like supporting like the ice caps, like protect them and not let them melt, or maybe just a simple ice cube. You don't know what it means.
You don't know what it means, right?
Exactly.
If you knew that it meant that it's immigration enforcement, does that change anything?
Well, I think yeah, it definitely would, because I'm against ice.
Okay. So in that instance, would you stick with them or go with the second one maybe?
You know what? Maybe I'll go for the second one.
Well, we can set you up with the second one.
I'm okay.
Yeah, actually, she doesn't want to date the fat guy with the septum piercing and the blue hair. Can't imagine why. They want to date ICE. They do. They want to date the hot guy, and that's just proof right there. They don't want the liberal men either. Now, this next video, this is by Serge Philly, who does a lot of these man on the street videos. And he was at a protest, one of these anti-ICE protests, and he asked a protester, what is fascism? What are you here for? They can never answer the questions. They never can. Watch.
Why are you out here protesting ICE in Philadelphia?
I mean, it feels like Nazi Germany all over again, So I feel like what they're doing, ICE particularly, per se, is just uncalled for. Like, who are you to say what's the word? I don't know, I can't really think straight right now, but I'm having a hard time thinking of an answer right now. So.
She's finding it. Just let her cook. Let her cook a little longer. They can never answer the questions at hand. Never. What are you out here for? Why you're protesting? They can never define fascism. They never have an answer for the protesters. Why are you out here? Well, I don't know. My TV told me to be mad, and I don't know. Someone sent me a signal chat, and they told me to go out in the street, and I've had this cardboard box in the floor of my apartment, and I just figured I would use it. I would make a sign. I wanted to make some arts and crafts. I had to get my steps in. And I think that the reason why they can't come up with any answers to the questions is because they have brain freeze from all that ice. Anyway.
Boo.
Boo. I'll see myself out. I'll see myself out. Should we do this guy dressed as ice? This is a very funny little comedy sketch. Watch.
God, it is cold outside. Oh my God, dude, what are you wearing?
What is that outfit?
Why are you wearing a tactical vest?
It's freezing out.
That's a specific
I have the layer.
It's cold out.
You're concealing your identity.
Have you felt the wind chill out there? Okay, I'm very susceptible to chapped lips. You gotta cover up.
You look like ice.
Yes, it is icy outside. I was warning people. I said, look out, there's ice. There's ice everywhere.
You can't look like an ICE agent.
Oh, those guys?
News.
Oh, I see it.
Ice
Oh,
from the
shit.
news.
Okay,
This
this is not on purpose. No, this is not
take it
good.
off.
This
Take
is
it
not.
off. Take it off.
You don't understand. Okay, I went to a bodega and I said to the guy, "Show me your papers." I meant the sports section of the newspaper.
What did he do?
He just ran, dude. He just took off. You were yelling. Guys,
I
get
bet.
out of your eyes.
No,
I was like, just throw some salt
It's
down.
a
It's not that big of a
national-
deal.
Well,
I guess I could never wear this ever
What
again.
the hell? What is that?
This is my alma mater, okay? Iowa College of Economics.
That-
Go Blackhawks.
Oh
That's our chant. Go Blackhawks.
No.
Get them out of here.
It's so stupid. I just thought it was funny, though. I love it. All right, this next one is wholesome. This is a wholesome video and a reminder to check on your people. Check on the elders in your community and people who might be living alone. This is just very sweet. This has happened in the Nashville area. They got a lot of ice, a lot of snow, and this guy went to check on his elderly neighbor. Watch. It says it's 8 degrees, power is out.
Gray?
Old man sitting in his car.
Are you trying to stay warm in here, buddy?
I'm trying to get my phone charged.
Oh, your phone charged. Are you warm enough?
Oh, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I brought you some oatmeal.
Oh.
I thought we could have some oatmeal.
Yeah.
Can we have some oatmeal together?
That's too clean. Yeah.
You want to have it in your house or in your car?
Let's get in the car.
Yeah, let's get in the car. But you slept okay. You're warm in there.
Now they're eating oatmeal together in the car. It's so sweet.
Gray, have you ever seen anything like this?
Not this man. Put it in 1959.
Yeah.
I love it. They're spending some time together, eating the oatmeal. Just a nice reminder to check on those people that might not have someone to check
Cheers.
on. So wholesome. And now I did promise you guys that I had dog videos in the snow. I keep my promises. So this next one, this woman is taking her dogs for a walk in the snow, and then the plow came over. Watch.
They have no idea what's going on. There's plows.
Plow passes and oh, bye doggies. They're not even moving. They're just like, I'm cold now. Why is my jacket wet and cold? You could see the like flashlight on their little harnesses was still under the snow. Very cute. Here's another one going outside in the snow, braving the cold to go potty. Watch. Oh!
Oh my God.
Oh,
my God.
Lost him just for a second.
Oh my gosh. Frankie, come back in. Oh no.
Again, complete instant regret when they go outside and they feel the cold and they're like, actually, I don't want to go outside so much. And this last one, I wasn't expecting this, but similar, just a cat. Cat wanted to go out and got some second thoughts. Watch.
You think you want to go outside?
Cat wants to go outside.
How?
Okay. Suit yourself.
You going outside? Where?
He's thinking about it.
Yeah, where?
Oh. There he goes. He's like, see, Mom, I meant to do that. I meant to do that. Now he's like slithering through the snow. Yeah, I love it out here. Yeah, I meant to do that. That's a lot of snow. He's like completely covered. And back he goes. Back in he goes. He's like, never mind. Never mind. All right. Thank you for scrolling along with me. You could follow me on social media at Hayley Caronia, HayleyCaronia. And I'll see you right back here on Monday for Scrolling with Hayley. Woo!